I'm Gregory Blair, and you're listening to The Movie Rig.
It's time for the movie raid, and tonight's victim is actor Gregory Blair, that played in Death House, Fang, amongst others. Hello.
Well, hello.
What have we been up to lately?
Oh, boy. What haven't I been up to? It feels like 2 days ago went to screening a couple of films, some excellent films, actually. I was involved in 2 of them. One of them is a short film that I wrote and directed. It ain't always black and white, unless it is. Very talented filmmaker called Adam Schadenmacher. That film is called A Regular Afternoon in 1967, and it's about Groucho Marx wanting to try LSD before filming Skidoo, which was a movie that he was supposed to film in 1967, and he actually did. Anyway, I play Groucho Marx in that film.
Oh, very cool, man. So has this film been stringing along mainly throughout the U.S., or just like one theater at a time, or one festival at a time at the moment?
That was the premiere. It was just recently finished, so it's just going to begin its festival circuit. And once that's done, then yeah, it'll be out, available to the public on some sort of VOD at some point. I'm not sure exactly what the plan is because, again, I'm just an actor in that one, so I'm not part of the production team, so I don't really know the plan, any more details than that. My short film, I already put it out on YouTube for free, so anybody can go look it up.
Now, you've been in so many other films. Success does come with a price sometimes. Do you think that success can actually convince an actor's performance to become much more of an emotional value or even value itself in terms of performance because of success? Or do you think there's other means because of that?
I would say yes. I think it would be like any other job. When you feel that you are valued on the job, that is always a motivator to your best. If you're not already motivated to do so, yeah, I would think that would be true for any actor as well. Ultimately, I would like to believe that anyone, actors included, do something because they love it and because they have a desire to do it. That, I think there should be this, in other words, intrinsic reason you do what you do because it fulfills something inside of you that has nothing to do with the outside world in a way. So it doesn't have anything to do with how famous you become or how rich you become or any of those outward rewards. It's about the inner rewards of being able to fulfill your passion or your calling or whatnot. So I think why some actors probably don't care that much about what other people think and those sort of awards and et cetera, and those sort of the trimmings of types of things that are considered to be markings of success as opposed to others, which, no one else needs to know about except how it makes you feel.
And it seems like in this day and era, label as artist is not really the title anymore.
Labels are an interesting thing, and they constantly, I think, as our language changes and evolves, a lot of times labels change and evolve. We're learning new labels just about specific things regarding to the earth and to gender, and so things are always changing. And so I think that labels are something that they may be helpful at a time to help describe something, but I don't think anyone should latch on to them as having any more meaning than what they're useful for at a time. That's my thought on that, is, if somebody's labels, I know people use terms like, this person is a star, this person is a celebrity, this person is a whatever. If those labels are useful, that's fine, but I don't think you can take those to heart exactly.
What do you use yourself as an actual advantage for you to be out there as an artist, for the audience to really share and even adapt to your art, to your craft?
Wow, that's almost 2 separate questions, and I actually only recently sort of came up with this label. Not that I invented it, other people have used it, but because I write and I act and I direct and I produce and I do screenplay consulting, I do all of these different things. I thought I need a label that will allow me to sort of introduce myself without having to have all of those hyphens. So I've decided on entertainment professional. It sort of covers all of the different hats that I wear, and if somebody wants to have me on a show like this, and it can be something where I can have all of my hats, because they can ask me questions about all of those different things, then that's sort of the label I use. Sometimes if I'm going on set and I'm being hired as an actor, that's my label. I'm the talent. I'm the actor. So it gets more specific. So those are usually the labels I use, all of those, either that sort of umbrella term or anything underneath. I usually refer to myself specifically just as an artist because, again, that's a very sort of global term, and I don't know what that means. Obviously, it means I'm doing something creatively in the arts, but what, right? So to me, it is not a very clear, specific term. That's why I don't use it. That doesn't mean it's not a label somebody could apply to me. If somebody was writing something about me and they said the artist Gregory Blair, it would be like, yeah, that's not untrue. It's a totally fair label. It's just not one I use a lot.
Now, do you think, as a different motivation tool, do you think fear could also be in the works in order to continue to take the best out of yourself as an artist and any other form of medium in the industry as well? Or do you think this is something that even one can actually rely on in order to continue to go, like the fear of rejection, the fear of not making as far, but to use that as a strong point to keep going?
Well, yes, we all feel fear. That's a normal human experience. And yes, I would agree that it's always best, if you can, to feel the fear and do it anyway, as they say, and use that on someone. Certainly when I'm acting, sometimes it's important for my character to feel fear, obviously, and so yes, if I can access that, that's a good thing, and so that's an example of using it for good. But I think it's best to try to stay as focused as you can to acknowledge that fear exists and recognize it for what it is, because 9 times out of 10 in a professional setting, fear is unwarranted. If you've already been hired on set, it's not likely you're going to, let's say if you have the fear, you might lose your job. If you perform your job well, that's just not likely to happen. So if you feel that fear, you should recognize that you feel fear. Say, hey, I feel this fear, and you know what? Too bad. I'm doing my job, and I'm doing my job well, and I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. Fear exists. I think you do your best to try to use it in a positive way. That will, I think, help you be successful as a person. If that helps you be successful in your career too, good.
What is your definition between needing to attract that audience and wanting to attract that audience so you can get your point across as that character?
That's an interesting question. There's a big difference between needing something and wanting something. And I don't usually approach a role as an actor or as a writer, I don't think in any artistic capacity do I approach something from the sense of needing versus wanting. The term I would use is desire. I have a desire to, if I'm writing, or acting or whatever, to communicate something. To me, that's what this business is all about. It's about communicating things, communicating ideas, communicating emotions, communicating whatever it is to other people so that they can experience and hopefully come to understand something about it or something about themselves or something about someone else that they have no experience with. And so that's really the main thing, is that desire to communicate. And whether I would classify that as a need or a want, I'm not sure I would make the distinction, even though I think they are two very different things. You need food. You may also want food, but there's a difference between a need and a want is something that is not necessarily crucial to your continuation, to your existence, whereas a need is. For me, would I physically die if I wasn't able to do what I'm doing and communicate to people in an artistic way? No, I wouldn't die. So I guess my desire is closer to a want than a need.
Do you think it's a constant duality when it comes to ability of performing reaction and actually controlling that reaction of the character?
Excellent question. Yes, I think it's always a little bit of both, because you have to do certain things. I mean, as an actor, You have to say the lines. You have to say them correctly. You have to stand where you need to stand. You need to gesture whatever you need to do. There are certain things you need to do. So you need to be aware in the moment that you can do all of those things. So those things are in your control, and you better do them and do them correctly. At the same time, as you're in this character and in this moment usually with another actor, sometimes not, there are things happening that are going to be just in the tiniest, almost inexplainable and almost inescapable ways different. And all of those things you have to be open to and aware of and feel, and they're going to change what you do and how you react. I mean, if you're any good as an actor, because that's half of the actor's job, is being able to pick that up, to not just intuit it, but also react to it. It has to be a combination of those two things. I don't imagine anyone could do any kind of a decent acting job if they weren't pulling from both sides of that equation. One of the responsibilities and goals of an actor is to hone your craft so that you do have the side of you that is in control can sort of monitor that, and you can keep your performance where it needs to be, because the director has a vision and wants the scene to be a certain tone or at a certain level or whatnot, and it's your job to get to that level, whatever it is, and to maintain it and to give it every time. If it's film, for example, he or she will want you to give that same thing every single time, more or less. Sometimes they say, hey, do another one, do it totally different or whatever, or they might redirect you. And even for live theater, the people that come to see the show on Wednesday, they deserve the same show that you do on Thursday and on Friday. There's a responsibility you have as an actor to always give the best performance moment to moment, as close to whatever it is that the director has guided you to present.
As much as a director having to direct that moment, having to direct that kind of emotion, you have to understand that emotion right there off the bat. You have to understand where it's going. It's a big emotional map. It's that you just have to do that within probably minutes, probably within seconds, because when he says go, or she says go, you got to be on point. I mean, even if you understand the character itself, having to understand that, but you got to understand the moment of the emotion as well, regardless of what you're arguing about, regardless of what you're crying, having to be happy about. The fact is, it has to sell.
Oh, absolutely. And by sell, if I'm interpreting that right, it has to be authentic and believable, and at least have the appearance of being 100% real, because that's your job.
Well, go ahead and plug in any websites or any projects that you'd like for us to check out right now.
One of them is called Fang. That is a scary, gory, but also a little funny, kind of a funhouse throwback of a horror film by a director named Adam Steiger. My latest film, Garden Party Massacre, which is a horror comedy, heavy emphasis on comedy, is also out. I think both Fang and Garden Party Massacre are on Amazon, so you can see them or get a DVD or a Blu-ray or whatever. Those are the two that come to mind right off the top of my head. I'll probably think of 10 more later, but there you go.
And there you have it, everybody. That is actor Gregory Blair.